Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about brushes. Now, a few questions that I get asked a lot are, what kind of brushes do you use? What are some good brands? And how to clean them? How often? What do I use to clean them with? And so on. So today we're going to go over the brushes that I use every day to complete a makeup look. I also have, because I don't just use brushes, I do use a beauty sponge. So we'll go over that as well. First up is going to be the beauty sponge. Now this is what this looks like. There is a sponge that is just totally, it looks like a little egg, that is called the Beauty Blender. Those usually retail for about $20. This one is I believe it's Real Techniques, one of their beauty sponges, and those usually retail for under $10. Sometimes you can get a dual pack that is I believe $8. So I do like the Real Techniques because I do like this flatter area that can get into the corners and flat along the areas that I do concealer. You will run this under water first, get it nice and damp, and then use your liquid foundation to put all over your face. I don't recommend going in with a dry beauty sponge because it will soak up all of that foundation. With it being wet, with it being somewhat damp, you're not soaking up as much product as if it were dry. So that is the beauty sponge. Then we go into the concealer brush. A lot of people use a brush like this. It is nice and flat and tapered, so you are able to dab on your concealer and make it look nice and smooth and flawless. I actually use my beauty sponge to dab or buff in my concealer. I don't like using the brush, but that is just something that is specific for me. Give them both a try, see what you think. I do like the sponge just because I like how smooth and flawless of a look that I get with this versus this. A lot of people will say the brush is better. You make your own decisions and we'll move on from there. The next type of brush that is great to have in your kit is a nice big fluffy brush like this. Now this brush is densely packed, but it's nice and fluffy. You can see how easy it is to move around the bristles. I use this to with powder to set my face. So you just dab it in the powder, you remember, always tap off any extra, and then you dab it around your face. You get a nice big area with this, and I love the way this looks. This brush is by Sonia Kashuk. It is available at Target, and you can get them in sets or you can get them individually. I do believe this was, I think it was between $12 and $15. I'm not 100% sure. I'm so sorry, but I will link that in the description box below. But this is a great brand. I do love Sonia Kashuk brushes. I use a big brush to set my face. I use a tiny brush to set my concealer. So all of the areas that I put my concealer on, I use this guy right here. This is a small tapered brush. It is by a company called Real Techniques. They also make great brushes and they are fairly inexpensive. I do believe this one was under $10. I take this in my pressed powder and I set my concealer. Now I use a smaller brush versus this guy here because I want to set a specific area, and this being tapered conforms right in there. I can get right in there and get the areas that I want precise coverage. Now this is great for the overall face, but this, if you want to be real precise and make sure that is set under your eyes, I do recommend using a smaller brush to do that. Now we're going to talk about this one right here. This is what I use to bronze. And I like this brush because it is on the bigger side. It is a face brush, just like my Sonia Kashuk one. But this one is also tapered, so I feel like I can get more precise coverage in the areas that I want to bronze, versus a brush like this that would be giving me a larger area of coverage. And I might not like necessarily the outcome of that look versus this guy right here. So on to our blush brush, and again, this is the one I use all the time. That's why it has product on it. And this is by, this is the It brushes from ULTA. And I like this again because it's a thicker brush. It is tapered. Again, with these tapered brushes, you get more precise coverage, and that is what you want when you are applying these, because you don't want it all over the place. You want it in a specific area. And with this brush being tapered, I feel that you can get the outcome that you're looking for. Now, you can use a brush like this. They do make smaller versions of this one. If you are just doing the apples of your cheeks, that works just fine. But if you want to, you know, get higher up there in your cheekbone with the blush, I do recommend a tapered brush. And again, this one is by, it's the It brushes by ULTA. On to the next brush. Now again, it's a tapered brush, a small tapered brush. It's a little bit bigger than the one that I use for concealer, but this is what I use for highlighting. You can also use fan brushes. We'll get to those in just a minute because I don't use fan brushes for highlighting. I use this guy again because I like the tapered brushes and I like the way my makeup looks after I've applied it. So with highlighter, you just want to highlight the top portion of your cheekbone. If you want to highlight your bridge area of your nose or the upper part of your lips, that's fine too. I don't normally do that. I usually just do the top part of my cheekbones and then I'm done. But again, this is a small tapered face brush by E.L.F. Next up are our fan brushes, and they, as well as the other brushes, come in many shapes and sizes. I like using this one the most right here. This is in a Morphe M558 brush, and I like using this to contour my nose. Fan brushes are also used for highlighting as well, and you can use a bigger fan brush to just highlight the upper portions of your cheekbones. On to eyeshadow brushes. And eyeshadow brushes, I use a few different types. As you can see in the previous eyeshadow tutorials that I have done, I like to start with a somewhat fluffy brush, and I like to use this type of brush to put the lightest shade all over my lid. So I do put eyeshadow primer on. I do take a little bit of the leftover concealer from my brush and kind of tap that in and set it with powder. So I don't necessarily need the step that I use this for, but I like doing it. It makes me feel better, and I'm going to continue doing it. This one is by a company called Jessup. I actually got these brushes on Amazon. It's a set, and I really like them. There is this and another brand that I bought on Amazon, and they are really, really good brushes. So again, it's Jessup. I will also link all of these brushes and how much they cost down in the description bar below. So make sure that you look there if you are interested in purchasing any of these brushes. The next one up is the type of brush that I use for my transition shades, and that is another nice big fluffy brush. This one is the Morphe M504. Morphe is another one of my favorite brush brands. I think they are very well made brushes, and they are fairly inexpensive. So you can get Morphe brushes online at Morphe or online at ULTA. So this brush is by a company called Lamora. It's their Tapered Blending 110 brush. Lamora, I think, is the other brand that I purchased through Amazon. great brushes. I love them. They clean well. Everything about them is wonderful. I love these brushes. They are great. So the next set of brush, or the next couple brushes we're going to talk about are the pencil brush and the smudger brush. Pencil brushes are very tiny brushes. They are very densely packed but soft. These are used for the lower lash line to get some color down there. You can also use them to apply a lighter color in the corners of your eye if you want to open up that eye look area with something brighter. The smudger brush does kind of the same thing. You can really blow out a smoky eye look by using a smudger brush. You can use these brushes to get the upper brow bone area if you would like to highlight that area, or into the corners of the eyes. These are great tiny little brushes. Some of these brushes are also nice and flat and firm. So if you want to maybe put a shimmer or glitter on your eyelid, these are also great brushes for that. So what you would do is just spritz your brush with some setting spray, dab it in that glitter or shimmer color, and dab it on your eyelid. These are great brushes for that. So this smudger brush is a Morphe M421 brush, and this pencil brush is by Makeup Geek, and it is their pencil brush. So to reiterate the brushes that we went over today, and these are all of the brushes that I normally use for my everyday look. We will go over them one more time. So first we have our beauty sponge, and this is what I use for foundation. We have the concealer brush, which can be used for liquid concealer and dabbing that under the eyes to open up that eye area look, or you can still use your beauty sponge. This concealer brush, I apologize, I have no clue who makes this because there isn't a name on this. I got this brush a long time ago by my mom, I believe, and the names were never printed on the brushes. So on to the next one is our powder face brush, and this is by Sonia Kashuk. Here is the brush I use for bronzer. That is by E.L.F, and it is their Flawless Face Brush. This is what I use for blush, and this is It Brushes by ULTA, or for ULTA. It Brushes for ULTA. My little small tapered brush I use to set the concealer in the areas on my face, and this is by Real Techniques. My highlighting brush, and this is by E.L.F, and it is their small tapered brush. I use this one again for highlight. My fan brushes. This one is by Morphe, and it's their M558 brush, and this one is by Sonia Kashuk. This came in a set, so I believe there was about 6 brushes that came in this set. And on to our eye makeup brushes. So this is what I use to put the lightest shade all over my eye, and this is by Jessup, and it's their Luxe Soft Definer brush, and it's number 227. This is the brush that I use for my transition shades. It's a nice big fluffy brush, and it is the Morphe M504 brush. This is the brush that I use for all of my darker, more defined colors, and this is by Lamora, and it's their Tapered Blending Brush, number 110. And then we have the pencil brush, and that is a Makeup Geek's standard pencil brush. And our smudger, which is the Morphe M421 brush. So that is the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, press that subscribe button down below, and remember to hit the little bell so you are notified of all of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.